Everyone's looking for the confirmation of Bitcoin, and then everybody's going to get out the risk curve. Everyone confuses inflation and debasement.
Yep, exactly.
Inflation is CPI, which is the rise of goods and services. That is nothing to do with, and this whole monetary inflation, if they just stop conflating the two things into one, they said there's inflation, which is usually a cyclical phenomena, and then you've got an occasionally structural because of, let's say, population or whatever, and then you've got debasement, which is a whole different game, and that's been going on.
The global financial system is undergoing a radical transformation, driven by shifting liquidity cycles, the explosive rise of cryptocurrencies, and widening wealth disparities. As central banks continue to inject liquidity to manage debt and stimulate growth, a parallel revolution is occurring in the digital asset space, where Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies are poised to reshape perceptions of wealth and investment strategies. In a recent interview, Raoul delves into these pivotal shifts, providing a sharp analysis of how liquidity cycles intersect with the evolving cryptocurrency market. He emphasizes that despite economic uncertainties, liquidity injections remain essential for sustaining growth and managing debt, and the predictability of these cycles could significantly influence crypto prices. With digital assets becoming more prominent, the impact of liquidity shifts on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies could be substantial, potentially driving price volatility and creating both risks and opportunities for investors. Pal takes a strategic view on crypto investments, adopting a performance-focused approach. While he recognizes Ethereum's importance and has invested heavily in high-end NFTs, he suggests platforms like Solana and Sui may present better near-term growth prospects, which could affect the valuation and trajectory of established coins like Bitcoin. His analysis suggests that digital assets are no longer just speculative ventures, but are now critical components of wealth strategies that will shape crypto market trends. To hear more about Raoul perspective on what could influence the next big move in crypto prices, watch the clips from the interview. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights into the future of finance. Enjoy the video.
It's if the liquidity picture doesn't match what we're all expecting. You know, the general thesis that I brought about was the fact that we need to refi the debts, and that liquidity has been cyclical and it's been measurable, and we've got a huge amount of debt coming. Yes, GDP growth is decent right now, so that does pay for a lot of those interest payments, but interest payments are very high. Not only the US doesn't provide liquidity, because if you go back to the 16-17 bull run, the US had raised rates once, went on pause, didn't do anything with liquidity. The Chinese did it all, and then the UK because of Brexit. And so it'd have to be all of them not doing anything. But the Chinese have already made it clear they're going to have to do something. That's the difficulty I see is I don't see how nobody's going to do it. Because inflation's imploding in Europe right now. It's just the Europeans are going to keep going. I don't know. That's the only thing I can see is for some reason that whole liquidity story, the cyclicality, doesn't work. But it's been working perfectly since the bottom in 2022. And really, when I look at the patterns and stuff with GMI, it's like I'm complaining because it didn't match last week versus, you know, really with a bit of wiggling around because of flows or whatever, whether it breaks out this week or in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, makes no difference. But it should be that order of magnitude in terms of time. It's like, it's right here, right now. Everyone's looking for the confirmation of Bitcoin, and then everybody's going to get out the risk curve. I love ETH. It's great. My only ETH exposure is NFTs. So I've got a lot of high-end NFTs, which are only on ETH. Other than that, I'm a mercenary otherwise. It's like, you know, what's going to outperform? I've been Solana, and then I've been switching towards Sui, even though I'm on the foundation. So I've been granted tokens, but I've actually been buying in the open market because the chart versus every cross rate versus Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and choose your token, and it's about performing. So I'm like, okay, this is the signal that this may be the next chosen one. ETH, I've been thinking through what happened with ETH. The layer 2s obviously took away from the layer 1. Okay, fine. But what I'm thinking is really being built is something that scales much larger by having the layer 2s, and then they're going to go to this ZK roll-ups, whatever it's going to be. But they have a roadmap, and I think basically they've overbuilt infrastructure for where we are right now. And that's what it is. While Solana and Sui and other stuff are seeing the pickup in activity, ETH has basically built out enormous amount of block space. And as the market grows, I think, ETH, because it's security and all of the other stuff, will attract more flows. But it's probably going to underperform this cycle. Underperforms Solana, but I still think it outperforms Bitcoin. I look at that cross a lot. That cross perfectly works with the ISM. So as the business cycle picks up, that's alt season. Now, why is that? It's pretty simple, because everyone has a bit more money.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the ISM picks up, still below 40, below 50. So it actually says a big part of the economy is still slow, and another part is racing ahead. So that means that corporate earnings are still slow. That means people's paychecks are slow. That means the bloke who owns the sandwich shop down the road, earnings are still a bit slow. All of that stuff. When it starts picking up, that compounding effect of the business cycle means more disposable income, means more investing, and then people go out the risk curve. So we still haven't got to that point. So we're still, and that's another reason maybe this whole breakout from the banana zone hasn't happened, is it really happens when the RSM crosses 50 to the upside. That's like a big signal.
Raoul Pal's approach to cryptocurrency investments is strategic and forward-looking, with a focus on assets that show the potential for outperformance. While he acknowledges Ethereum's strengths, especially through his involvement in high-end NFTs, he suggests a more opportunistic investment stance, predicting that Ethereum could underperform relative to platforms like Solana during this cycle, but may still outperform Bitcoin thanks to its robust security and evolving development roadmap. He also sheds light on emerging trends within the crypto space, such as the potential of gaming platforms on the Avalanche blockchain to catalyze adoption. Beyond conventional factors, Pal highlights more unconventional catalysts, like the role of meme coins as possible drivers of future market momentum. Let's go back to the interview and watch more clips to gain insights from Raoul Pal's discussion.
Everyone confuses inflation and debasement.
Yeah, exactly.
Inflation is CPI, which is the rise of goods and services. That is nothing to do with, and this whole monetary inflation, if they just stop conflating the two things into one, they said there's inflation, which is usually a cyclical phenomena, and then you've got an occasionally structural because of, let's say, population or whatever, and then you've got debasement, which is a whole different game, and that's been going on. It's equally dystopian in terms of what it does to people, but they don't see it.
Well, the wealthy get wealthier and the poor are getting screwed.
Yeah, and what it means is, what is an asset? An asset is future deferred consumption. It's something you buy today. You get rewarded for locking up your capital by excess returns for the future, and for that you can spend it in the future. Now, what's happening is our future selves are getting poorer because you can afford less. The investment banker, 25-year-old investment banker now can buy a fraction. Well, he can't even buy the house because you can't even get the mortgage on it anymore. So then you're missing out on that whole rung. And if you look at the stats of home ownership of 30-year-olds, it's collapsed if you compared it to 1983. All of the stats just show that they're just going to miss out on a big part of economic life, which is why so many people are driven towards speculative assets, because it's the only way of making it up. When you speak to somebody, I had this conversation today or yesterday, I'm like, why don't you invest in the S&P 500? They're like, how much does it make a year? 8%. And they're like, I'm never going to make enough money to retire or do anything. So therefore, they move to Bitcoin. Now what's happening, it's really interesting. Go and speak to a 33-year-old now and say, so, I presume you're long Bitcoin for the crypto cycle. They're like, that. 4x? Never going to make me enough money. I need to make 50x. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about Bitcoin is people don't really, we all get so in the day-to-day stuff. Really, what we've created is a globally homogenous asset, right? You're in FX markets. We think of like FX as globally homogenous. It's not. Go to a rice worker in the Philippines. They have no chance of buying dollars or pounds or anything.
Yeah.
So it's not a product. Gold, yes, but the bid offer spreads are so massive. So this is the only one, and it's fractionalizable. So whatever you earn, you can put 10% of your income in. It's also some random things like should keep your eye on stuff like Off the Grid, the new big game that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Avalanche. Okay, fine. Avalanche is not a chain that a lot of people use, but this game could be huge. That's a huge influx of people that we're not even looking at. And there's a bunch of the protocols who are building stuff like that. So it's like a mass market, abstracted away use of crypto that drives on-chain adoption, underlying value. So I think that that's the other thing. It's not the obvious, it will come into the Bitcoin ETF and then flow through the market. It could come from a number of different places we're not seeing. Don't forget, at the moment the business cycle picks up a bit faster, it's slow across Europe, it's slow in the US. The forward-looking indicators are showing it going up. I mean, that probably ignites meme coins and brings a whole bunch of normies into meme coin casino, because it's just gamification of attention and
Community.
internet memes. I mean, they get it. And if their mates we've seen it before in every cycle, whether it's ICOs, if your mate is making a 50x, you are damn well opening an account and going to start trading because you can't bet.
In a twist that defies the typical Uptober optimism, Bitcoin's recent slide below $60,000 has shaken the crypto landscape, leading to the liquidation of $150 million in long positions across digital assets. Traditionally, October has been a month where Bitcoin shines, earning its Uptober nickname for historical gains, but this year's narrative has taken a different turn. The flagship cryptocurrency briefly dipped below $59,000 before settling around $59,810, a far cry from its March high of $73,737. This turbulence has hit futures traders hard, with Bitcoin leading the liquidation tally at $63.2 million in losses. The broader context, as Raoul has often discussed, ties back to liquidity cycles and macroeconomic forces. Factors like geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and a weaker-than-expected U.S. CPI report have compounded the uncertainty. Additionally, the SEC's lawsuit against trading firm Cumberland has added a regulatory twist that is rattling investor confidence. The recent U.S. jobs data, which decreased the likelihood of a Federal Reserve rate cut, has tilted the scales further in favor of traditional safe haven assets like gold, with riskier assets such as Bitcoin losing their allure. This shift comes amid broader macro pressures, contributing to Bitcoin's 8% decline over the past 2 weeks. As we conclude, what are your thoughts on the current market trends in cryptocurrency? Do you think Bitcoin and Ethereum will continue to play a central role in global wealth strategies? Be sure to share your thoughts, like this video, and subscribe to the channel for more insights into the future of finance. Don't forget to turn on notifications for updates on the latest trends and analyses.